Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hearing from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 24, entitled Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Text 57. Nahyasya janmano hetu karmano va mahipate atma mayam vineshasya parasya drashturatmanaha. Na, not. He, indeed. Asya, of him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Janmana, of the appearance or taking birth. Hetu, there is any cause. Karmana, or for acting. Va, either. Mahipate, O King. Maharaj Parikshit. Atma Mayam, his supreme compassion for the fallen souls. Vina, without. Ishasya, of the supreme controller. Parasya, of the personality of Godhead, who is beyond the material world. Drashtu, of the Supersoul, who witnesses everyone's activities. Atmana, of the Supersoul of everyone. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. O King, Maharaj Parikshit, but for the Lord's personal desire, there is no cause for his appearance, disappearance, or activities. As the Supersoul, he knows everything. Consequently, there is no cause that affects him, not even the results of fruitive activities. Please repeat. O King, Maharaj Parikshit, but for the Lord's personal desire, there is no cause for his appearance, disappearance, or activities. As the Supersoul, he knows everything. Consequently, there is no cause that affects him, not even the results of fruitive activities. Purport. This verse points out the difference between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and an ordinary living being. An ordinary living being receives a particular type of body according to his past activities. Karmana daivana trena jantor de hopa pattaye. A living being is never independent and can never appear independently. Rather, one is forced to accept a body imposed upon him by Maya according to his past karma. As explained in Bhagavad-Gita 1861, Yantra Ruddhani Mayaya, the body is a kind of machine created and offered to the living entity by the material energy under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the living entity must accept a particular type of body awarded to him by Maya, the material energy, according to his karma. One cannot independently say, give me a body like this, or give me a body like that. One must accept whatever body is offered by the material energy. This is the position of the ordinary living being. When Krishna descends, however, he does so out of his merciful compassion for the fallen souls. As the Lord says in Bhagavad-Gita 4:8, Paritranaya sadunam vinashaya chajushkritam dhamma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I advent myself millennium after millennium. The Supreme Lord is not forced to appear. Indeed, no one can subject him to force, for he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone is under his control, and he is not under the control of anyone else. Foolish people who, because of poor fund of knowledge, think that one can equal Krishna or become Krishna are condemned in every way. No one can equal or surpass Krishna, who is therefore described as asamurdva. According to the Vishvakosha dictionary, the word Maya is used in the sense of false pride, and also in the sense of compassion. For an ordinary living being, the body in which he appears is his punishment. As the Lord says in Bhagavad-Gita 7:14, Daivi Hyesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Dharatyaya. This energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But when Krishna comes, the word Maya refers to his compassion or mercy upon the devotees and fallen souls. By his potency, the Lord can deliver everyone, whether sinful or pious. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gnanandjana Shlaka Chakshu Anmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Panchakaptribhishcha Kripa Sindhuvaivaccha Patanam Pavnabhya Vaishnavya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. In this verse, the difference between Krishna and the living entities is being described. The Lord, yes. Srila Prabhupada says in the last line, by his potency the Lord can deliver everyone, whether sinful or pious. Maya refers to his compassion or mercy upon the devotees and fallen souls. So Krishna's mercy, it is impossible for us to appreciate the extent of Krishna's mercy. Queen Kunti understood it perfectly, because in her prayers she said that, admitted that whatever had happened to the Pandavas in the times of the great distress, or times when they were re-established, their great opulences, whatever they had experienced was due to the mercy of Krishna. And that without his mercy, if he withdrew his mercy, then they would be non-entities. Non-entities. So Krishna is great, and we are infinitesimal. And this is explained in the invocation to the Sri Upanishad. Om Purnam Ada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnashyam Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Shivashishyate. The Supreme Lord is complete and perfect. And because he is perfectly complete, all emanations from him, such as the phenomenal world, are complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is the complete whole, although so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. That's a lot of words. That word complete is in there 9 times. But we understand the essence of what is being related there. That everything that exists is Krishna. And Krishna exists as the complete whole. And that everything, including the world, the universe, that emanates from Krishna is also perfectly equipped as a complete whole. In fact, the truth is that Krishna makes an arrangements for the complete satisfaction and happiness of the conditioned souls. And he tells us how we can achieve or maintain that happiness by the performance of yajna. When Lord Brahma created the secondary creation, the first thing he did was there was nothing existing except the Lord. Lord Brahma existed upon the lotus flower, which is a part of the Lord's body, on the top of the lotus stem. So all that Lord Brahma had to create the material world was the Lord's body. It was out of the Lord's body that Lord Brahma created. The first thing was the sacrificial ingredients. So Krishna is the complete whole. Everything that emanates from him is complete. But the living entities under conditioned life are not aware of this fact. So they are making separate endeavor for their maintenance, unaware that, or unappreciative of the fact that Krishna is supplying the necessities for all living entities. All the lower species do not have any problem of maintenance. It is only the human being that has the problem of maintenance. But it's only the human being in the human form that we have the possibility to understand the Purnam, the complete whole. If you're in the body of a dog, you cannot understand. If you are an aspidistra growing in a pot, you cannot understand. Only the human being has the advanced, expanded consciousness to be able to understand the complete whole, and to understand our infinitesimal and insignificant nature, because to appreciate our insignificance is such an important part of remaining humble. Appreciating, for instance, that whatever we can do, whatever we can say, whatever we can achieve, Tejasvinam, that Krishna is the source of the ability. Whatever we can do in this world, or whatever we can achieve, Krishna is the source of that ability. Yes, we can do. What is the extent of our freedom? It is only to choose, that is all. We are neither the doers or the providers. We are certainly not the protectors. We cannot protect anybody. Devotees in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are so many examples, pastimes, to demonstrate this fact that only Krishna is the protector. King Ambaris, for instance, he performed 1 year fast, Ekadashi fast, for 1 year with his family, and then he fasted for 3 days. And then just as he was about to break the fast, Durvasa Muni arrived and wanted to be fed. So Durvasa Muni went off to the river to bathe, but then when he came back, but while he was bathing, it was actually the time for King Ambaris to break his fast. So he consulted with his brahmanas, and they told him, they came to the conclusion that to drink water would be not breaking the fast. So he drank some water, and then Durvasa came back and he understood what had happened, and he was extremely angry, furrowed brow, and he was trembling with anger because he took this as an insult. And so he took a wad of hair from his head and threw it on the ground and produced a monster, a fiery monster equal to the fire of devastation, who when he walked, the earth would tremble. But what did King Ambaris do? He did not move from the spot. He stayed perfectly still, and Krishna came and protected him with the Sudarsham disc, chakra, and immediately the demon was burnt to ashes. So Ambarish then, he didn't do anything for a year, because the chakra was chasing Durvasa Muni, who went everywhere. He went in the oceans, all over the lands, in the caves. He went to the heavenly planets. He went everywhere trying to escape that chakra because it was scorching him in the back. And eventually he went to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu said, I cannot help you either. You will have to go back to King Ambarish and get his forgiveness. This is the only solution. And because the glory of Krishna is that he never forgives an offense to his devotees. And the glory of the devotee is that he always forgives offense. So King Ambarish, he waited for 1 year because he knew that Durvasa Muni was going to come back. And he came back, and then King Ambarish offered his respects to him. Durvasa wanted to offer his respects because he understood then, he came to properly understand the power of the devotee who is protected by Krishna. He really understood that point, so he wanted King Ambarish's mercy. So it became somewhat of a love fest, and a great feast was prepared, and they ate that sumptuous feast, and everything happened, was happy ever after. Another example of protection was Jada Bharat. Jada Bharat, he took his birth, and he was so careful not to take association with anybody, not even his family. His father was a Brahmin and tried to teach him Brahminical qualities, but he would not accept those orders. He was told to, you have to bathe after passing stool, but he would bathe before passing stool. So he didn't, he acted like a dumb and deaf person. So everybody thought he was crazy, so he was put out into the fields to protect the crops at night. And one night, dacoits were going to make a sacrifice to goddess Kali. And they wanted what they thought was they had to find a man animal. So they had captured one, but this person escaped. And they looked for him, but they lost him. But they found Jada Bharat, and they considered him suitable for the sacrifice. So they tied him up and took him to their temple. And Jada Bharat made no protestations at all. They bathed him. They dressed him in fine garments and sandalwood and so many different things. And they sat him in front of goddess Kali. And they had a very sharp sword, and they were just about to cut off his head. But what happened was that Kali came out of the statue, out of the deity, in a fierce form, and chopped off all the heads of the dacoits. And then there were witches and female adherents there, and they were throwing around the heads of the dacoits. So in that case, he was protected. Now sometimes we think, the living entity thinks that we can protect somebody, but we cannot. That fact was elucidated in the experience of King Yudhishthira when Dhritarashtra disappeared. We know that Dhritarashtra received instructions from Vidura in pragya, introspective knowledge. Vidura didn't spare him. He told him exactly what his position was, how he was getting old, his senses, he had mucus in the throat, his teeth were loose, and he was living in a dependent life, totally dependent, but still expecting to be treated like a king. So that knowledge from Vidura, having received that knowledge, Dhritarashtra decided to become Dhira and leave without telling anybody, because that's a sign of a Dhira who can leave family attachments and go away and die without anybody knowing. So Dhritarashtra disappeared, and Gandhari one night, because King Yudhishthira went to offer his respects to them in the morning, as was the custom. In the Vedic custom, everybody, sons would go and offer their respects to their parents in the mornings, among other things. But he could not find Dhritarashtra, so he asked Sanjaya, the secretary, who had been with Dhritarashtra every day for so many years. And Sanjaya said, I have been cheated by my master. He has gone without even telling me anything. So Yudhishthira was lamenting at that time, because he was feeling responsible, because Dhritarashtra had been living under his care. And but at that time Narada Muni appeared. Jai Shri Gauranitai. Narada Muni appeared and corrected the situation by explaining to him that it is the Supreme Lord who brings people together and separates them. Just like a player brings out his playthings, and then when he's finished he packs them up and everything is finished. So he should not be lamenting. He said, you should not be lamenting, because you were thinking you were the maintainer or protector of Dhritarashtra, but that is not so. It is the Supreme Lord who is the only protector. And he explained why the living entities, conditioned souls, are not able to protect anybody else. Why was that? Why we're not able to protect anybody? Because we are under the influence of three things. Conditioned soul is under the influence of three things. Firstly, there is kala, time. Time destroys everything. You cannot. Is the kalasarpa, it is like the bite of the serpent. You cannot escape it. Time is the time. I am the destroyer. So there's time is destroying everything. Whatever you may achieve at one moment is due for destruction sooner or later. So there's kala, karma, then there is karma. Every living entity is having to suffer karma. A certain amount of wealth, a certain economic situation, beauty, ugliness, those different things, the pious results. So under that, and the other one is what? Guna. Guna. We're also under the influence of the modes of material nature according to our desires. If we associate with bad persons, then we will acquire the qualities of tamagun. If we associate with good people, then we will get good qualities. That is according to our desire. So because of these three influences, the conditioned soul is not in a position to protect anybody. And also, Krishna is not only the only protector, but he is also the only maintainer of all living entities. Yo vidadati karman, what is it? Eko bahunam yo vidadati karman. One living entity is maintaining all other living entities. What do we produce is described in this verse, right? That we don't produce any food. Everything in the material world is provided by the Supreme Lord. We actually can produce nothing. We are not actually the doers, neither are we the proprietors. So Narada Muni understood this point because he was the son of a maidservant, and because of her, she had no independence. His mother was not able to properly maintain him. So he describes that's because the Supreme Lord is controlling everything, and the living entities are like wooden dolls in the hands of the puppeteer. So whatever we're receiving is by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So in these different ways, we appreciate our insignificance, our total dependence upon Krishna in all aspects of life. Mata smrtya jnanam apohanam cha. I am the source of knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. This is a very poignant point that has been brought home to me recently. When you have lapses in memory, it's very frightening, because you can imagine that what it might be like to lose your knowledge. What a catastrophe that would be. It's become a challenge for me to quote verses, because if Krishna doesn't provide you with the memory, then you cannot. What can you say? We can only speak according to what Krishna allows us. And in Vrindavan especially, the demands are very high. Higher than I think in other places. What you can get away with in other places, you may think, devotees may think, nice class, but you know in your heart that you're not. You may be preaching, but a preacher also has to be good in behavior. You may know in your heart that you may not be good in behavior, but you can get away with it. But I don't think you can in Vrindavan. Krishna is very demanding here that you have to come up to snuff. You have to purify your existence. If you want to continue sitting on the Vyasasan and be an authority, then you have to shape up. I think that's my experience in Vrindavan. Therefore, it's very appropriate here to become prayerful, to appeal to Krishna for his mercy, because we are so dependent upon it. And also the mercy of the devotees. The devotees here are extending their mercy to one another all the time. It is obvious we can live together in peace and harmony. I don't see any envy. It is a very nice place to live. A very good place to be locked down in. So if anybody has any questions, please. Yes, Brahma.
It seems like sometimes Krishna bewilders us. Like he's telling Arjuna, first you have to work. Okay, renounce your work. Then you have to cultivate knowledge. Okay, renounce your knowledge. He's telling Uddhava the same thing with the mantras, the rituals, the philosophical analysis of what is the purpose and goal of life, and then Uddhava becomes bewildered as well. Like Krishna, what am I actually supposed to do? Like you said, the animals, everything's provided for them. Like the lion and the tiger, sometimes for days they don't eat. So unless they hunt, they're not going to eat. They may be sitting waiting patiently for Krishna to bring them some meat, but it's not going to necessarily happen.
Yes.
And for human beings, some elevated souls that maybe judge about normally if someone attacks you, you want to defend yourself.
Uh-huh.
And also if somebody is thinking that, well, I'm just going to sit here waiting for Prashadam to come to me without making any endeavor. So the idea of endeavoring and working for Krishna, understanding Krishna's ultimate doer, but he does expect us to do something as well. It's not that we're just, oh, Krishna will provide it, and the animal's thinking, oh, Krishna will provide it, but he's waiting for us to also get into action as well. So what is it? Are we supposed to do action or not do action?
Prabhupada summed up in one sentence, we should act with valor, understanding Krishna is doing everything. No, we should. We know it's going to rain, doesn't mean say we don't create an umbrella or shelter. What was your point exactly?
Well, that,
should we endeavor? Right.
Should someone strive for wealth?
Yes.
They're already destined to have wealth. Why should someone strive for eating when, Krishna?
Right.
You're supposed to eat, you're going to eat.
Well, Arjuna explained that. Krishna explained that to Arjuna after enlightening him in knowledge. He told him, "Now do what you want, but if you don't act according to my instructions, you'll be advised by false ego, and you'll be lost."
And Arjuna said, "Your instruction was to work, but then you tell me renounce work. Then you tell me cultivate knowledge. Forget knowledge. Spontaneous devotion is the only way. So what is it? Work, jnana, or bhakti? What am I supposed to do? So sometimes we bewildered."
Right. Well, we can't imitate Jad Bharat, obviously. There is another instruction there that in the Vedic culture, aggressor can be killed. So it's necessary that we can do what that is not incumbent upon us to act at that level. That's to give an example, because there was a discussion between an Indian gentleman and Srila Prabhupada, and the Indian gentleman was explaining how he was in the frontier province and his family was being attacked by Pathans. They wanted to kill his family. And so he was explaining to Srila Prabhupada how he killed them, and he was stepping over their dead bodies, and Prabhupada was going, "Acha." So Prabhupada was condemning what he called the Baniya spirit, which is Vaishya kind of weak-willed spirit. And he was emphasizing how sometimes we need Kshatriya spirit to accomplish things. So it's not that as Krishna told Arjuna, you'll act according to your nature anyway. So whatever you may decide to do is of no avail, because you'll act according to your nature. Nahi kashtit kshanan api jatutistatya kama krit. The living entity is forced to behave according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. You can't refrain from doing something even for a moment. So you'll be forced by your nature. So the advice is, do your duty. Don't think that you're the protector. Don't think that you're the maintainer. Don't think you're the proprietor. Just do your duty. Hare Krishna.
Similar question. Just like we see the farmers, they are farming, some are farming rice, some are farming wheat, and whatever they get the output of that one. They get the output, whatever they are sowing, they are getting this one. So in this material life also, whatever we are sowing, we are getting that one. So if we do good to others, we will get good. If we do something bad to others, we will get bad. Can you speak something more about it?
Yeah, if whatever you're sowing, then you can get the fruits of that. If you do something bad, then bad.
Yes, that's the process of karma. As you sow, so shall you reap. If you do pious work, then you will get the results of piety, which is wealth, beauty, wealth, beauty. What are the other things? Education, fame. Or if you do sinful things, then you will get born into poverty, you will be ugly, you will be uneducated, you will have problems with the law. Those are the bad results of karma. So Triveda the three, yes, Vishaya Veda, yes. The Vedas deal mainly with the three modes of material nature, but Krishna's advice to Arjuna was Nishtraya Guna Bhavarjuna, rise above the three modes of material nature, and that is activities without fruitive results. That is akarma, where working for the pleasure of Krishna does not accrue results. That way we're not entangled. So that's a transcendental process. Whereas the karma, according to karma, the karma kanda section of the Vedas, we may regulate our lives according to scriptural injunctions, but it is to achieve mundane happiness. And so even if we have to come to the position of transcendental knowledge to arise above that fruitive work. And then when we work in knowledge, we only work for Krishna, for Krishna's satisfaction, not for our own satisfaction. That is the difference. Yes.
I can ask you, like, you say in the beginning this verse of Upanishad.
Yes.
And I was like, I can understand what is the connection with this. You say, like, yes, everything that Krishna made is perfect, and all that demanded of Krishna is perfect. But we can see that in the material world, our actions many times are not in the perfect level.
Yes.
But also in the Bhagavad-Gita, they have this verse that says, chapter 4, they say, Nakarti Tvam Nakarmani Yogasya Srinati Prabhu Nakarma Falsani. The soul don't make the actions and don't make the motivation to other to act. They say that.
That the soul don't create the actions, even induce the people to act. Is that all these things is created by the three, by nature. The same alternative.
Right.
And then my question is, what is this connection? You know, like, really, because in the 14th chapter also they say that the people that understand that the soul will make nothing, this person real can see it in the proper way. But what is this connection that we are pure, we are perfect, because we are creation of Krishna, that emanate all perfect, but our actions are not perfect, but in the same way we don't create these actions. And what is the connection in this point? Really, what we do, or what is this level of perfection in this conditional life? Because I can understand.
Well, that's according to your desire. What do you desire? If you desire to enjoy matter,
that means that if you have this desire, you are not perfect. And how you can be not perfect? If
Krishna is perfect. Krishna is infallible. We are fallible. We can make mistakes. We do make mistakes. All the time we make mistakes. Every day practically you say we're making mistakes, choosing the wrong thing. But it doesn't mean the material world is not perfect. It's perfect because whatever comes from Krishna, Krishna is the perfect, complete whole. Whatever comes from him is perfect, complete at every moment. It is not. It is all Krishna's mercy, whether he benedicts us or sends us to the lower species. It's mercy. I'm not sure exactly your point. What is the connection there? The connection is according to our desire. We will achieve Krishna's blessings, or, well, it's all mercy. Doesn't answer your question. Hmm?
I made this question because it's...
You have to ask it another way, if you can.
What is the connection, because in this way I can say the same, okay, but if we are infallible or fallible...
The connection is you keep reading Bhagavatam and chanting Hare Krishna to clear up for you. It'll all clear up. A lot of times it's confusion, how this works, how that works. Keep chanting, following Bhagavad-Gita, it'll all clear up.
Well, that's one answer, yeah. I mean, it's probably not the most satisfying, but it is true. If we want to understand everything immediately, actually it'll be an obstacle for us, because...
Great devotees feel sometimes, bewildered. It's just set a good example for others. So some places we get caught up, but keep going, it'll smooth enough.
Yes, unless you accept that Krishna has inconceivable energies, you can't even begin to understand Krishna. But it's a fact. We have to continue with faith. If we don't understand something, the faith that Krishna will reveal the truth to us as we become purified. Bewilderment will disappear. Like you have a problem right now trying to think of something, but later today you might not have that problem. It might just disappear. Hare Krishna. Okay. You have one more?
We will read the example of Jet Bharat.
Yes.
From the deity, Guru Bharat appeared. So from this one we can understand that the deity, the Lord is always present in deity.
Yes, absolutely.
Always thinking that Lord is present.
Yes, if we don't think like that, then we have a big problem.
And just like demigod worshipper, they also think that the demigod is present in the deities.
The demigods?
Yeah.
Who?
The demigod worship.
Just like Durga and demigod, she appeared from this.
Well, we don't equate the demigods with Krishna. That's very offensive.
But they also appear. So the worshipper is worshipping the person, deity, demigod. So he appeared.
Yes, they appear to their worshippers because that's the system of sacrifice, that their happiness depends upon the performance of sacrifice. But the benefits bestowed by the demigods are bestowed by Krishna alone. They don't have any independent existence to bestow any benedictions. But if you worship Krishna, then you automatically serve the demigods.
My question is outside of those who are worshipping demigods, for them I'm asking. We know that the Lord is present, but how about those materialist people who worship demigods and they see that Lord Shiva is present, just like Manas who was worshipping Lord Shiva and he was about to cut his head, so Lord Shiva became present before him.
Right. I'm not quite sure what you're saying.
I think we're seeing that Krishna's present in his deity. He's asking also, is the demigod present in his deity? Just like Lord Shiva was being worshipped and the person was ready to cut his head off, and so Lord Shiva appeared. So the demigods are conscious and aware of the worship. Doesn't mean that they are the deity. There's a difference there. The demigods are definitely conscientious of the worshiper, but it's a little technical. It's fine.
Uh-huh. Jai, O Guru Srila Prabhupada.